An 1817 dwelling house in Red River, Tennessee, has been the site of many unexplained phenomena. One of John Bell's daughters, Betsy, is tormented by an unseen apparition and is later sent to a neighbor's house in the hope that she can sleep in peace. This episode on the Story Channel explores the paranormal events that occurred at the Bell farmhouse, including the stories of the people who lived on the property and subsequent events, sometimes generations later. The Red River region of Tennessee was once home to a pious farming community. Some of the wealthiest farmers were slave owners and bought and sold people to work their large tracts of land. John Bell moved his large family from North Carolina to Red River, where they became successful farmers. In the summer of 1817, enslaved people at Bell's farm began noticing strange animals passing through the property. One report described a large black dog with red eyes. The enslaved people of the farm began to experience unexplained phenomena, such as mysteriously locking themselves outdoors in the forest surrounding the farm and seeing candles or flickering globes of light as darkness fell. John Bell suspected that his family was haunted by a witch and asked preachers and friends to communicate with the witch. It seemed that the witch wanted to kill John Bell, but also harassed Betsy Bell, who was about to marry Joshua Gardner. The witch tormented the people of the farm for 3 years, escalating into violence. The smaller children said they were beaten and tripped by an unseen force. President Jackson tried to travel to Red River to see the phenomenon for himself, but was threatened by an unseen force. After being hit by an unseen force, Jackson and his team turned around and drove back to Nashville. The Bell family suffered severe physical abuse and mental torture from the Bell Witch, and in December of that year, John Bell suddenly fell into a coma and died. Bell's family said that the Bell Witch's disembodied voice took credit for killing John Bell with poison. After John Bell's death, the haunting stopped, and the Bell family hoped to finally feel comfortable in their home. However, Betsy Bell's ex-fiancé, Joshua, ended up working as a sheriff and later founded a railroad company with his brother. Jesse Bell and John Bell Jr. married sisters Martha and Elizabeth Gunn, and after 8 years of silence, the witch returned to visit them. In 1828, John Bell Jr. encountered the Bell Witch again and described it as haunting him for 3 consecutive days. When a mysterious series of events occurred in Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 1890, some were quick to blame the infamous entity. However, another publication suggested that coal may have been thrown by pranksters from outside the house. Some believed that the socio-political climate of the late 1810s may have influenced the Bell Witch ghosts, while others point to Mary Catherine Batts, a neighbor who may have quarreled with John Bell and was the voice of the witch, as a possible culprit. For a time, people in the community considered John Bell's experiences to be paranormal. They suggested that the ghost could be an Aboriginal person whose grave had been disturbed. The cause of death of John Bell is still debated, but there is strong evidence that Mr. Bell was killed by arsenic poisoning. A chemistry professor noted that the Bell family had done some research on the dark liquid found next to John Bell's deathbed. Not all elements of the story can be explained by science or human activity. The 1930s came and went peacefully for the Bell family, but the ancestor of today's Bells still experienced strange events. Bob Bell, the 5th grandson of John Bell, described some strange and frightening phenomena that occurred in his grandmother's home when he was growing up. My grandmother called to say that the china had fallen from the butler's pantry and was still intact. Bob reported hearing disembodied voices in his grandmother's home and later found an old family Bible dating back to 1820 in her basement. The haunting experiences stopped when the Bible was removed. Bob continues to live up to the legend of the Bell Witch ghosts and often plays the 5th grandfather in John Bell's play called Spirit. The Bell Witch haunting had a big impact on the Bell family and also left its mark on the town of Adams, Tennessee. So why not get comfortable, pour yourself a drink and choose one of our stories to listen to? Thanks for dropping by. I'll see you in the next chapter.